Hey everybody, hey, what's up? I am sorry, folks. I'm going to start off right now by apologizing about being on so late tonight. Scheduling conflict. I had to go into work. It was mandatory. Okay. It's just this week only that we went on at 10:30. Next week we'll be back to our normal 8:30 normal airtime. So don't worry. It ain't going to happen again unless I get called in again. Nothing I can do about that. But most of the time that doesn't ever happen on a Monday. So yeah, every Monday is still going to be at 8:30 p.m. So yeah, it is the 3rd of June already, folks. We are now at the halfway mark in the middle of 2024. Folks, can you believe that it is already the middle of the year already? This year flew and flying by so quick. Uh, and things are just revved up. This year came out right away, swinging punches, man. It didn't even wait for for the first punch from the opponent. It just came right out, started swinging right away, and boy, I can't imagine what next year is going to be like, folks. See if we even make it to that year. Okay, this year has been all about war, folks. World war that is coming. And we are to keep our eyes on the Middle East and Europe, especially Europe, because we know that is especially where World War III is going to happen. And where I think it'll break out there, in my opinion. And the Antichrist is going to come from somewhere from Europe, we believe. Folks, it is my belief that nothing is going to stop this war from going to a nuclear war at this point. We are at this point, folks, that we are basically at a point of no return. We've crossed that threshold, folks. Red lines have been crossed. And now we're at a point where the Lord, I believe, is leaving it up to the Antichrist to put the slamming brakes, as I should put it. Okay? When you get to a red light and you feel like in your car, you all of a sudden you look up, oh, it's a red light. You slam on brakes, you just about go through the red light. That's the Antichrist coming just in time before the car goes through the light and hits an oncoming traffic. It's a train wreck about to happen around the world, folks. A nuclear war is imminent, I believe. The way it looks. Wait till you see this article I'm going to show you. And that is how close we are, I believe, until the rapture is about to happen. That is how close we are to the appearing of an Antichrist. He's going to come in like those brakes slamming, and he's going to stop everything from causing this to go nuclear. He will be the one that stops nuclear war from happening. He will be the one that stops World War III. Okay? I think that's where it's all coming to, folks. God is moving the chess pieces in place right now as we speak. Okay? Folks, before we begin, really dive deep into the show, I want you to just smash the like button for this video. Everybody that's watching right now, okay? All the people that I see watching, the numbers are going up fast, but all those people that are watching around, just take a second and just hit the like button. It'll help our video climb the YouTube algorithm. What I mean by that, folks, is when people do searches for prophecy, our video is going to come out more in the results in front of others that don't have as much likes. It'll help get this video to the people that need to hear it more, that don't know Jesus Christ as their personal Savior. Okay? You're doing your part as well, folks, to help save the lost. Okay? So let's do that right now. And hit subscribe. It's free to do. Hit the notification bell. That way you won't miss any live shows, any update videos, any prophecy videos that come out, which I usually update every day. I usually have a video almost every day, especially if we're following an ongoing breaking story or if something major happens, we go live right on the spot. Okay, like some channels do. Okay. And let me see who's all chatting. Oh, the chat room's blowing up pretty fast. All right, let's welcome. Look at all these people. Truth Seeker, welcome. Sheep, welcome. Andrews, welcome. If you're all our first time, welcome to Prophecy Mondays, folks. This show is a weekly show that we do every week called Prophecy Mondays, and it comes on 8:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. That's in New York time every Monday, folks, at 8:30 p.m. Mark that on your reminder on your phone. And if you subscribe, you should get it in your feed. Okay? Revelation 2021. Welcome. I've never seen him in here before. Leslie Jones. Kat, welcome. Look at everybody's excited to be in here. Cabin Girl, welcome. All right, guys. Rainbow, Mr. Vox. Some people I haven't seen here before. Some new subscribers. Thank you for subscribing, new subscribers. All right, guys. I'm kind of waiting for everybody to show up a little bit more before I dive into the article. I kind of don't like going on this late, but I had to this week only because of the circumstances, but that's no big deal, just one time. Folks, how do you feel right now about a rapture taking place in 2024? I feel this strong feeling that it could happen this year because the way this is looking, the wars are moving too fast right now, folks, for this to go on another year. In other words, into 2025. And also, we had a solar alignment, or not a solar eclipse, I'm sorry, an alignment, a planetary alignment just happened today. Sometime today, I think it's supposed to happen tonight, or no. Go look at the video I posted. You'll see the planets for the thumbnail. Look at it. The article says when it's going to happen, or when it did happen. Sorry if I not had that already up, but the reason why I'm bringing that up again, if you watch the video, I say that the planets are lined up. Why 6 planets only are lining up? Why not 7? Why not all 9? And just my thought that I think it's because God may be saying there's 6 months left in this year that he can come back for his church. Notice the alignment, 6 planets, 6 months. The weird alignment that aligns with that time frame. That's what I was talking about in that video. And folks, listen to me. I'm going to get this out there right now before I continue. I do not set dates on my channel. I do not sit there and say it's coming on June 11th, or I say it's going to come on this date or whatever. Because all you're doing is putting yourself out there. You're setting yourself up for failure. People are going to say, look, Rick, I thought you said it was coming on 11th of June, and it didn't happen. Folks, no, I don't say that. I don't say anything like that because all you're doing is setting yourself up. And guess what? You make yourself look like a fool. Okay? And I'm sorry, I'm not bashing other believers, as one person put it today. Okay? I love all my believer friends out there, even the ones I said that are setting dates. I love you. But please, all I'm asking is don't set dates. You're making yourself look bad. That's all I'm saying. If you're wrong and everybody's pinning their hopes on that date, how would you feel? You would say, look, I was betting all my stuff on it. And some people literally will sell their money in their bank accounts, give their money away, thinking that they're doing a last minute bid for God to earn their final reward before they're raptured on that day. And guess what? It doesn't happen, and all their money's gone in the bank. Don't do that, folks. That's stupid. Okay? So that's why don't do it. Don't set dates. Now you can narrow it down to a time frame. Maybe say, look, I think it's coming during this month, like September. Okay. Okay. And that's what the thumbnail is on this video. If you go and look at the thumbnail, it shows a giant mushroom cloud with Jesus coming in the clouds on the right of it. And it shows 2024 as a possible window that month that's coming up, which is, I believe, is the final window for this year, the highest Rapture Watch window or time frame for the rapture to happen. And you notice everything is counting down to the September, I believe. Everything, as we count down closer to September, folks, you notice the ramping up of all the wars in the Middle East, or excuse me, Europe and Middle East. Now, I know, strangely enough, that Israel, the Iran leader is gone all of a sudden. Why and what is that all about? It's going to be a mystery to me. What is God doing right now? Did he see something coming? Did he see a nuclear bomb that Iran leader was about to do? Was he about to hit Israel with a nuclear bomb? And God says, no, you're not. And he just got rid of him quick like that in a helicopter crash. Possibility, yeah, maybe. I don't know, folks. Those that come against Israel, like try to destroy her with a nuclear bomb, God's going to destroy you. I will stick to that. Okay? Let me see what everybody's saying here. This person here says, what if the ICBM test was scheduled for tomorrow and it doesn't go to plan, a giant catastrophic? That's very possible, Andrew. I mean, if they can launch that and it hits a country by accident, that country's going to view it as an act of war. That's the first thing they're automatically default. They're going to go in and say, look, we need to hit that country back. We don't have time to talk about, debate it for a couple days. That could be an attack. So automatically they're told to respond to that. So if any accidental nukes go off, it's wartime, buddy. That's their training manual says. If you're attacked by a nuclear missile, chances are it's probably not an accident, folks. Their manual says, their instruction manual says, look, immediately go into war mode. Okay? But we hope that doesn't happen. Okay? Now, I probably don't have any panelists joining me tonight because it's late. They're probably in bed. They're used to the 8:30 thing. We might have one that might join us. He said he might pop in for a little bit. That's cool. I got this tonight. I'm the pilot of this plane tonight, folks. My co-pilots are not with me. Not a big deal, folks. I've got this flight. Flight 777, folks. It's going up, up and away. We are going up, folks. And you want to go with me. If you know Jesus, you'll go up there with the rest of us. So let me just check something real quick. My emails here. I just want to see if anybody's emailing me back. One said he was going to try to make it. Hold on a second here. All right. I'm going to go and get right into this articles, okay? It's 46 after 10 already. Wow, the time is moving fast, folks. Right here, folks, let's get into the war news, okay? I want you to see this, folks. All right. Are we looking at this, folks? Let me see if my volume is adjusting again. This problem with this volume, it keeps adjusting. There it goes again. It went from 85 to 54%. This microphone slider keeps moving down. Now my voice sounds like it's lower than it's back up to high. Hold on a second, guys. Cover your ears. I'm going to clap into the microphone. And there it just went down to 65. Now it's at 64. Now it's at 61. Now it's at 55. You see that, folks? They need to fix this on my Windows. So I turn it all the way back up to 85 again. Maybe if I stay way back here, maybe it'll stop adjusting. Now it's adjusting back to 78, 76. Sorry, folks. This is so annoying. Put it up to 92 and see what happens. 87, 78. Okay. Come on, man. Stay at one volume, please. Folks, you're just going to have to turn your speakers up. Now it's back down to 62%. All right, I'm going to leave the volume alone. I don't care at this moment. I'll fix it some other time. Okay, thanks, Andrew. Okay. All right, what I'm going to do is read off this article here. Look at this, folks. Putin, okay, warning. Be Putin. Small density populated NATO countries should be careful. They will not withstand a nuclear strike. Full speed ahead, Russian retaliatory strike. Folks, do you see this man? He's not bluffing. He's all about this. Russia is a war machine. They're a war military country, folks. They're all about military power, okay? You following this, folks? Are you looking at this? I'm not playing games, folks. This is serious, okay? They said there was a video here, so let's see if there's a video. Let me just quickly watch this before we get right into this video or article.
Now, as for the strikes on Russian territory, I don't know about that. When current General Secretary of NATO was and Prime Minister of Norway, we dealt with a lot of important issues in the Barents Sea. We discussed it with him, and back then, when I spoke to him back then, he seemed a reasonable person, not suffering any dementia. And if he speaks about attacking Russian territory with these weapons, so take the Storm Shadow missiles, these flight missions, as they're called, can be decided automatically without the participation of Ukrainian officers. And it is done by the missions are designed by those who provide the weapons. So it can be done without any participation of the Ukrainian side itself, the Ukrainian army itself. Now, other missiles, other systems such as ATACMS are also used based on satellite reconnaissance. The mission is created, then it is calculated, and in fact, when it's being input into the missile, the person who's inputting it may even not know what the missile is going to do, but the mission that's being input is actually being prepared by NATO officials, by NATO military, not by Ukrainians. And so the NATO countries, especially in Europe, especially in smaller countries of Europe, they must they must realize what kind of game they're playing.
Oh, there he is. That was someone that was translating from Russian to English, speaking over him. But that's what he was. That was word for word coming from the president of Russia, folks. This is serious. He's not playing around. Okay, you're trying to kick the bear in the corner of the cage. The bear's gonna eventually fight back with all he's got. He feels threatened, cornered. He's gonna fight back with nuclear weapons. This man here, he's not playing around. He's gonna do it, folks. And this is what the Lord, I believe, God is waiting for the moment when this man decides to start nuking countries. Read my lips, folks. The rapture of the church will be triggered, I believe. And that means the Antichrist can't come out until the holy restrainer is removed. That means we have to go up before him to come out. We go up. When the bombs go down, we go up. And then the Antichrist comes out. When the bombs come down, we go up. Then the Antichrist is produced. He comes out and says, look, stop it, stop it, stop it, everybody. Please lay down your weapons. I've got the world. His attention, finally. He'll get the world's attention. They're going to want to know who this mystery man is, folks. He's the man of lawlessness, sin. He is the one, the wicked one that shall come. Let me get into this article here. Russia Vladimir Putin himself threatened NATO member countries with the use of nuclear weapons. This is again, he's doing this, folks. It was just a week ago he threatened nuclear weapons. Folks, when he keeps saying this over and over, next time he's going to just say, to heck with it. He's going to press the button. Folks, I know it. I can feel it. This year's got to be the year we go home. Saying that the small populous countries of the alliance must be careful, implying that they will not be able to withstand a nuclear strike, unlike Russia and its vast territory. Russia has a big territory, folks. Okay? They can freaking withstand a lot of hits. Okay? Russian president then commented on the statements of NATO Secretary General Jens Stoltenberg regarding the use of Western weapons on Russian soil. Okay? And in Putin's view, the NATO chief seems to be unaware in the stake. Okay? It is ultimately happens. He wanted to, at the point of, it basically points to him. Here it is highlighted in blue. Small, densely populated NATO member countries should be aware. I am not sure if he knows what Stoltenberg is saying. The mission is set by representatives of NATO countries, not Ukraine army. The launch of other systems like ATACMS is, for example, is based on a space reconnaissance data. So like I said, folks, Europe is preparing for war with Russia, claims the Hungarian Prime Minister. You see this right here, folks? This picture says it all right here, folks. Okay? The big button right there that presses that thing, it comes out of the ground, or right out of that machine, or out of that truck. Okay? Let's go to the next article, folks. And by the way, that article, it was printed on, it was June 3rd, 1801 time, military time. Okay? You see that, folks? Let's go to this next article. Europe at war with Russia. Okay? Europe at war with Russia. You know, folks, before I continue, 10 years ago or more, it was back in 2013, I think it was, that I had my own vision, I think from God maybe, that I said I envisioned a world that is on the brink of a World War III. And unsettling riots of mess of protesting around that time, same time that there would be a rapture of the church. What little did I know, folks, that 2024 is the year that is happening now. It didn't happen in 23, didn't happen in 2022 or 21 or so on before that. And then until we got to 2024, now we're hearing this stuff. Dude, listen to me. If we saw or heard something like this 10 years ago, people would be freaking out over this. It'd be front page news everywhere. Vladimir said nuclear war threat for the first time. Everybody would be talking about it. Now this is becoming the norm. It's like every day we're hearing it. Folks, that's the time you want to panic, or, well, I'm not asking you to panic, but that's the time you really want to be talking about it with your friends and tell them, look, it's going to happen. And you also want to add that the note is that there will be an event that transpires right before it, that precedes it, the rapture of the church, of course. And, you know, they're going to miss it if they're not, you know, they don't get saved. That's a good time to fellowship. You tell them about this. Say, hey, you want to escape all this? You tell them how to escape it. You tell them, look, Jesus Christ is about to deliver us. God's going to call his children home in an event called the rapture. You know, you make it sound like, you know, don't try to sound crazy when you're saying it. Okay? Anyways, here we go. Europe, I'm going to go to the next article, folks. Europe at war with Russia. Macron official announces on June 6th, it's 3 days from now, request to mobilize 900,000 reservists in Germany. Wow. And these are the guys right here they're going to put in there. Don't they know? What little do they know, folks, that they're living out Bible prophecy? Okay. They should all be saying to each other, well, these are the last days, man. This is supposed to happen. You know? June 6th will be the landmark day, 3 days from now, folks, for the whole of Europe. France will officially announce its first announcement of sending military personnel from Europe/NATO states to Ukraine territory. I believe Russia made a threat about that. If they see boots on the ground from NATO troops, that's justification of an act of war, that they may have to use nukes on that country that sent those troops. And what do we see here, folks? These guys, men and women, are about to be sent into Ukraine, the meat grinder. And what little do they know, folks, that they are about to trigger a thermonuclear war by doing this. Let's read on. European NATO state, European armies, territory. The European president, whose legal term has expired on May 21st, to attend commemoration, that's a long word, for the 80th anniversary Allied landings Normandy on June 6th. French President Emmanuel Macron. I will have an opportunity when Vladimir Zelensky goes to France next week for nominee landing day ceremonies to welcome him, to discuss the very clear that we are going to support Ukraine. So you see, folks, how everybody is going into Ukraine. You know, World War II started over Poland. Over Poland. It all happened right there. That was the staging ground where it all happened. Okay. Now, I believe Ukraine is going to be like it's like Poland 2.0. It's like happening all over again. It's over one country where other countries all get involved and they start fighting each other over this. And this is what we're starting to see, the same like pattern of it happening all over again. So you're looking at this history repeating itself. It sounds awful like a world war is about to pop off. We're already in it, but we're not fully in it yet. We're seeing the breakout of it, the building up of it. Okay? The DEFCON levels are going down. In other words, they're going down to almost 1. 3 and 2s, I've been seeing all those. 1 is nuclear war, folks. So that's how close we are. Let me read on. According to the international media, Macron will choose, not by chance, June 6th, in order to announce in front of other Western leaders the mission of the French soldiers to Ukraine. Now, wasn't this man all about creating peace over there? Now he's all about pushing war. Who will shoulder the responsibility of training ED of the Kyiv? This is the first such announcement by a leader of a Western country in another sign of escalation of Ukrainian and the Russian NATO war. Russian NATO war, folks. You following this, folks? Okay? Germany, they call for a mobilization of 900,000 reservists. The same time, knowing that the war is about to expand, which it is, it's going to go beyond Ukraine, folks. We know it. The chairman of German Parliament Defense Committee, Marie Alke Strack, the Cyberman, called on the country's armed forces to activate and mobilize 900 reservists. So when they say activate, they're no longer being reserved anymore. They're now being put into war. That means boots on the ground, folks, okay? That means this is what Russia warned about, okay? And I believe, yes, you are right, Star Wars. The Rapture timing, it is all about timing, isn't it? The way all this is ramping up as we get closer to September, folks, we are counting down to September right now, folks. And as it gets closer to September, let's just say God is going to do it. Let's say he's going to finally blow the horn and get us out of here in September. Right on the feast holidays, like most people think it will, and I believe it could. Then that means we would have to see this escalation of World War III happening on a scale we've never seen before, on a scale that we know for certain it's going to go nuclear probably that year. Well, last year we thought it was going to happen in September, and it didn't happen. But can you look at your history in 23? None of this stuff was happening, not like this. NATO troops, Germany and all these guys, Poland, none of those troops, nothing was mentioned about NATO being involved, nothing. They weren't making their moves at that moment. It was just a little war between Russia and Ukraine. I won't say little, but just a war between those two. That's all that was going on in 23. And a little proxy wars with Israel and their buddies that try to attack Israel. That's about it. Just small stuff. All through 23. And people say, well, the Rapture's coming in 2023 in September. And I said, well, okay, it could, but it has the prophecy, there's not enough going on for that to happen. And then we go back to 2022. It was even lesser than that. 2021, none of this stuff really was going on as much. It was just normalcy. And then, of course, we had the post-pandemic. Then we had the pandemic in 2020, 2019, 2018, 2017, just normal life as we know it, just nothing was really going on. And people were saying September could be the date. Of course, it's a rapture opening, it's a window. But I said to myself, it just doesn't feel right for September this year. I said, why not? We have to see something major with Russia, with all the countries getting involved, NATO countries, nuclear war threats have to be coming out, a major escalation, boots being sent to fight Russia. When Russian troops start fighting against other NATO countries, then the nuclear war button's about to be pressed. Then that is the year that I would say it's good probability for a rapture to happen. And during that year would probably more likely be September. And now we are seeing this right before our very eyes. It is happening this year, folks. Okay? So that's why I feel really strongly convinced that this could be the very year we go home. So, folks, all eyes is on September right now. Okay? We didn't have a rapture during the blood moon, or excuse me, during the solar eclipse. Okay? During April 8th, the big X over America. The 40 days went by, or 41 days. Nothing happened during that. Nothing happened. Okay? We do have, I think, a Pentecost date coming up. Okay? I heard about it. I just didn't pull up any info on it yet. If somebody knows when that is coming up, let me know in the chat. Okay, email me an article to departureheaven@yahoo.com. This, folks, is serious. Okay, this is coming up this year. The way this is looking. So, like I said, 40 days, no rapture, and then all this is happening, and then the president of Iran dies in a helicopter crash. Okay, God only knows what that's going to produce out of all that. And we entertain the thought that that's paving the way for an Antichrist. Could, but he comes out of Europe, not out of the Middle East. But then some say he's Muslim, or that he will come with that descent in that area. Like I said, I don't really care where he comes from. We're not looking for the Antichrist. We're looking for Jesus Christ, folks, because our Savior's coming for us. Now, all the rest of the people that are going to be left behind, they're going to be on the other side of the rapture. You don't want to be on the other side. They're the ones that are going to be looking for their Messiah. Obviously, they're not looking for Jesus Christ to rapture him because they're a non-believer. They don't believe in all that stuff. They think we're cuckoo in the brains for Cocoa Puffs. No, folks. We're not cuckoo. If you want to call us cuckoo, it doesn't bother me. But call us crazy for Jesus in a good way. We are. We love Jesus. We're crazy about the rapture because we want it to happen. And it's going to happen. And it's coming quickly for us. Now, all the rest of those people that said we're crazy, they're going to be left there stunned with their jaw to the ground. They just say, look, wow, man, what in the world just happened? Okay? And then all the lies are going to be spewing out of the Antichrist's mouth. He's going to, you know what he's going to say, folks. It's going to be all about the alien abduction. They're going to have a big lie. They're going to go with it. They'll have other people, analysts, saying, look, it's this and that. You'll have all your conspiracy theories coming out about what these people went through or what they're going through now. Did they go through the next step of evolution? Did they just sort of transform into a new body? But yeah, well, if they did, then those bodies would still be there. They'd be different type of human beings. No, they're gone, folks. They went somewhere. They were taken somewhere, folks. Okay, that's what's happening. They were taken somewhere up to heaven. Okay, that's where they're gone. That is where they're at. They're going straight to heaven. God prepared a place for them, for us. When you see this, folks, this is a big red light for us to know, or a red flag that we know that the year that you start seeing all this stuff happening is probably to be that year that the rapture comes. Let me repeat that. The year that you start seeing this, what we're reading about here, when it's about to go into a nuclear war, that is probably going to be the year that the Antichrist comes and stops it. Because this is creating the perfect environment for the Antichrist, folks, to come onto the world scene. Okay? This environment can't be any better. The environment last year and the year before, it just wasn't serious enough for him to come out and stop. What is he going to stop? The little Ukraine war. That's it. He needs to come out on the world scene when there's a world war going on, when the world starts to fight. That's what we're seeing right now, or the beginning of that. When you start reading articles like this, folks, this is how we know that this is possibly the year of the rapture. Now, I heard last night from a girl that's on here. She talks about a comet. I think it's the Devil's Comet or something. And it was passing through. I thought that already passed through already during the solar eclipse of April 8th. How could it be passing through again? Would it just do a U-turn and come back again? I don't know. I might be wrong. It might be a different comet. And, what a terrible time we're going through right now. Well, we're not in that terrible time yet, but we're going through a lot of, the birth pains. Okay. End time generation. I see you, man. Come on here, man. You're probably sitting outside on your chair. I need you to come on here, man. If you can make it, that'd be awesome. But if not, I understand, bro. But if you'd like to come on, the link is in your inbox. Click on it, man. You don't have to stay the whole show. And Bob Barber, if you're watching too, you don't have to stay the whole show. If it's super late, I get it. If you want to pop in for 30 minutes, that'd be great. Or 20 minutes, whatever you want to do. And also, Shane from Black Swan Revelation, if you're watching, you want to pop on, I sent you the link. Okay, guys? This is serious, folks. I'm going to play this video, okay?
Οι εξελίξεις είναι ραγδαίες και μετά την εκτόξευση των ρωσικών απειλών υπάρχει μεγάλη κινητοποίηση.
Okay, I'm sorry about that, folks. I didn't know that was going to do that. Okay, let me just, I wish there was an English version of this. Let's see here. Hold on, folks. Okay, so let me just go here. Let me just continue. According to DPA news agency, so that's what we were watching. Russian President Vladimir Putin is training his people for war, pitting them against the West. We must therefore acquire the ability to defend ourselves as quickly as possible, said Strek Zimmerman, a member of the co-ruling Free Democratic Party. Comments were made at the Funk Media Group and published on June 1st. The MP called for Bundeswehr German army to activate approximately 900,000 reserves we have. So, like I said, there are reserves, folks. They're being activated for war. That's boots on the ground. I wish I had a sound effects for boots hitting the ground when I said that. But as you can see, folks, just keep watching, okay? These are exciting times. Because it means one thing, the horn's going to blow. I don't have a horn sound effect either. Here's the next article, folks. I mean, look at these images, folks. I knew this was going to be like this around the time of the rapture, and I've got it all right. I mean, this is what it's going to come down to, folks. If God doesn't intervene, in other words, he gets the Antichrist on the world scene, takes his church out first, we got to be gone first, and brings him out onto the world scene and stops this is going to happen, folks, with us here. Let's say God didn't care, which I know that's not true, but let's say he says, I'm going to leave the Christians here to die, and he didn't send the Antichrist out, didn't do anything. This world war will take place soon, even within this 6-month period that we got left. And a lot of people are going to die from that because a nuclear war will kill a lot of people by the billions. 1/3 of mankind will lose its life, folks. That is a lot of people dead. Now, if this scares you, folks, I apologize. I'm not on here to scare you to death. I'm basically trying to give you hope because this means one thing, that the church, the rapture of the church is very imminent. That means the Antichrist has to come out to stop this. The environment is perfect for him to stop this. Okay? Now, let me just read on. I wonder what this article's about. Well, A Breath Away. Here's the title. A Breath Away from the Use of Nuclear Weapons by Russia. A breath away, folks. You know how fast a breath is? It's like that almost, you know? A breath away from the use of nuclear weapons. Advisor B. Putin, the first of a test of a nuclear mushroom explosion and their normal use. Also activate intercontinental strategic weapons. Do you know what that means, folks? Do you know what international strategic weapons are? ICBMs. Those are international. International means that they can travel to any country in the world and hit its target. Okay? So where I'm at, if they shoot one, it takes about 30 minutes to get here to its targets. And it'll take hours, 30 minutes to hit their target. Okay? That's not a long time before you're dead. You know, what are you going to do in 30 minutes? I mean, you're probably, if you're sitting at a pizza place eating some pizza with your friends, and you get an alert on your phone saying that there is an inbound Soviet missiles on its way to your area, please seek shelter immediately. Well, they usually get that text within about a minute after they detect a missile launch. They say, look, notify users on all cell phone platforms. That's what they do. They hit the button and it gives you that weird tone and just say, look, we got to drop. We got to go. We can't finish this pizza. They drop their pizzas. They run to their cars, and you got to get through all the panic-stricken public first, which will be cars everywhere, jamming the streets, horns blowing, accidents everywhere, people literally just getting out of the cars and running to the nearest shelter. If you're downtown, you have a pretty good chance of getting to a shelter. So if you're downtown, folks, stay downtown. Try to go underground in one of these building shelters. Don't get in your car and try to drive away from it. Unless you got a really open road that could get you away from there really fast. I'm talking a 5-mile radius. You'd have to get away to avoid getting hit by the nuclear blast. As for others, you know, if you have a big truck, I mean, you know, like I said, inbound, 30 minutes. What are you going to do in 30 minutes, folks? How are you going to get yourself to safety that fast? That's why a lot of prepper channels on YouTube. I actually could give you a channel right now. There's New York Prepper. He's a good channel to watch for that. For prepping needs, or prepping videos. He also keeps watch of the war. And then there's another good channel is Canadian Prepper. Those two guys, check them out. I listen to those two every night because they keep on top of the war stuff, the war news. Okay, guys, I'm telling you right now, this is feeling bad. I have a bad feeling about all this, that we are going to see this happen this year, the way this is going. And I am so glad I'm saved by Jesus Christ because I know I have nothing to fear. I'm not worried about it one single bit, folks, and you shouldn't be either, because this means we are going home up in the clouds with Jesus. Okay? And we know because God has to do that before this Antichrist comes to the world scene. Folks, he is the only person that can stop this right about now. Okay? He's the only person. I'm sorry, but he is. Okay? There is no other man that's going to stop it. I don't see anybody. Now, of course, if Trump wins, he claims he could stop all the wars in 24 hours. I highly doubt it. What is he going to do? Just pay off everybody with his money? He doesn't have that kind of money. Resend you the email link. Oops, I didn't do that. Guys, give me 1 second. Okay, hold on, guys. I am sorry. Give me 1 second. I gotta go into my Gmail real quick. Okay, guys, hold on 1 second here. Oh boy, hold on. June 2nd, 1 day ago. I think that's it right there. All right, guys. This should be it. Yeah, invite 10:30. Okay. All right, give me 1 second, guys. I apologize. Let me just get this sent to him real quick. You should have it now, Dustin. All right, Dustin. Dustin, if you hear me, it's there. In time generation, I sent it. If you hear this message, it's there. He'll be joining us in a few seconds. Let me go back to this war stuff. All right, hold on. Present, share screen. Okay, here we go. Okay. All right, we're back to this here. All right, here he is, folks. Let me just go ahead and put him on real quick. And let me introduce you to another one of our panelists. His name is Dustin. He's from End Time Generation. Check his webpage out, folks. I will throw his banner up. In fact, let me just stop sharing this article for a second here. I'm going to put him on with me right now. Let's welcome Dustin from End Time Generation. How you doing, buddy?
I'm doing all right. How are you doing?
Okay. Are you kicking back outside? He's outside to enjoying the night, folks. Check him out.
Oh, absolutely. It's nice out tonight.
Yeah. So, yeah, I was just talking about this article. I appreciate you coming on with us tonight. You know, Dustin, this is just a one-time airing of this show at 10:30. This is not when I'm going to be coming on all the time. It's going to be 8:30 still. It's just this 1 week only, folks, just so you know that, Dustin.
Right.
I can't believe that this war stuff is going on so bad. Every time I turn around, there's some new stuff, development. Can you believe they're activating these soldiers? 900 reservists are going to be active here in the next couple of days. That's all these people are going to go to Ukraine, folks. This is going to go nuclear quickly, folks, if this happens. I know Jesus Christ and God is watching this right now. Probably even my show for all I know, but they don't need to. They already know this stuff better than we do. But they are, they're up there saying, well, we got to blow that trumpet before they hit those buttons down there, folks. So Dustin will be back in a minute, folks. Why he comes back, wait for him to come back. Let me go back to this article and start reading it. Okay, Dustin's back. Let me Dustin, let me just get your thoughts real quick, man. Do you see what's going on right now? All these articles, you've probably been listening for the past half hour. This is very alarming. I have never thought this would go this far until we got to this year. And I've heard an awful lot about 2024, how it lines up with 2031. If it is true, folks, if it is going to line up with that, And that explains why we're seeing all this nuclear war ramping up this year. Totally amazing, folks. What's your thoughts, Dustin?
Well, there's a lot going on. You know, I've been watching a lot of global, I think his name is Rapture something.
Rapture Watchers?
Yeah, like Chris, I think that's his name.
Mm-hmm.
And he's been talking a lot about it. I haven't really been reading up on the news myself, except for, you know, just watching him. And I think you were talking about New York Prepper a little bit.
Yeah.
And then there was another guy I was watching. I don't know if you've heard of him. I call him Mullet Man, but is off-grid desert farming with Paul and Adrian. And he has a channel on YouTube, but he's more like post-trib, you know, like I used to be. He believes we're actually already in the trib, and there's a lot of things that he believes. But other than that, if you can put all that to the side, not let that, you know, get to you, he's got a good channel where, you know, he keeps up on the news and everything that goes on.
Yeah.
But he was saying that, you know, according to him, it's about to happen at any moment. And basically that, you know, with them putting these troops into Russia, and, you know, they're just trying to get Russia to attack us. That's their goal. They want Russia to attack us, and that's why they keep trying to provoke Russia into attacking us. And then we're going to act like, oh, we're surprised when it does. No, we're not surprised. But it's all about to go down.
Yeah. Wow, this is heavy, folks. This is something that we know how close this is, how close this could be. I wouldn't be so shocked, folks, if nothing happened this year with God coming for his church. I will be shocked if it didn't happen this year. And folks, we're really at the middle of the year right now. So we're counting down to September. You know, September is another big rapture window. It's the biggest rapture window of this year. Will be September. Now, if you see the timing of all this, how this is all ramping up, it's like this as we get closer to September. If the Lord is coming this September, this is going to ramp up to a nuclear war in the next couple months. In other words, they will be ready to press the buttons. And God's going to stop it just before it goes into those buttons are pressed. He's going to do it by the rapture of the church. It'll create an ultimate distraction from them pressing those buttons. Tell me if this wouldn't get you. If you're sitting in front of those key silos, Dustin, you and me, let's say we were both down there and we were giving orders to keep our hands on the trigger, the key, in case there's a launch detection, turn the keys and launch. And all of a sudden, the rapture took place. Tell me if you wouldn't be distracted from turning those keys. You betcha. I know I would be.
Well, yeah, I mean, you know, well, it's interesting because I was just watching this video last night about the reason why they put all our nuclear warheads or ICBMs in the silos. Basically, our country has designed what states they want to sacrifice in a nuclear war with Russia. And it was like Wyoming, North Dakota, a couple of those states right there in the middle of our, you know, in the middle of the country. And the reason why they want to use those states to sacrifice in a nuclear war, so that way, because they're less populated, you know what I'm saying? And they figured that it will take 2 nuclear weapons for each nuclear silo. And I thought about that, and they said, well, they want to do that because they'll absorb those first. That's what Russia and China, they'll hit the nuclear silos first with 2 nukes each. Then the fallout will spread, and it will draw away from the highly populated areas like the East Coast and the West Coast, because they'll hit those nuclear silos first. But then I thought about it and I said, well, you know, China, remember when they had that balloon going over the United States?
Yeah, I remember that.
And they were, and Sleepy Joe was allowing everyone to map it out and find out exactly where our nuclear silos were and everything. But according to like articles that I've been reading like this on War News 24/7, I noticed they changed the headline on one of them. It said in one of them that it's time we drop the bomb, and then in another headline later on in that day, it said, well, it's time that we do a nuclear test. So you have people on War News 24/7, and it was also switched over in RT News too. So they're changing the headline. It's like someone comes out and says what they really want to say, and then you see somebody walking it back later on in the day. But I've heard that the French have sent troops over there, and they've been killed. I've heard French soldiers have died. I've heard a lot of things, and they said that we've been actually at war with Russia for quite some time. And then on the 6th, there was an article that France is going to declare war on Russia on June 6th.
Yeah, I just read something about that just on War News 24/7. They were going to make an announcement, folks. Russia could be put on super defense mode, which it already is. But you know what, folks? Russia now heard that they could hit a first strike on France just because of that alone. Imagine a nuke going off in France by Russia. That Article 5 would be activated within 30 seconds, 30 minutes after that. They would say, okay, Article 5 is activated. Guys, start launching on Russia. And then Russia will say, okay, that's a launch detection from France, one from the U.S. Then automatically Russia will have to activate all its nuclear forces, bombers, start launching. Missiles will be coming out of the ocean because they got submarines all around us right now, everywhere. Jesus Christ sees this, folks. God sees this. He sees when it's going to happen. He already knows because God's already in the future already. He's in the past, he's in the present, he's in the future because he knows everything. He's God. He knows everything. He sees when all that's getting ready to happen. Now, let's say he sees it in the next couple weeks. Then you could bet the rapture's coming within the next couple of weeks. You could bet we'll be up in the clouds in the next couple of weeks. Imagine that, Dustin.
Oh, absolutely. See, I just noticed on the page you're showing that it's got latest articles on the side. And yeah, some of those I just started reading while you were talking, and it says there on the 6th of June, they requested to mobilize, like you were talking about earlier, 900,000 reservists in Germany. So the draft is on, and you don't implement the draft unless you plan on going to war.
Yeah, they're talking about drafts, folks. It's going to be a draft everywhere soon. When this draft starts and they start pushing troops to fight, which are all going to go to Ukraine and fight. The Ukraine is the battleground. That's where everybody's going to start fighting Russia at. That's the only place they're going to do it, I believe. And then they're going to start hitting inside of Russia. That starts going past Ukraine's borders. Start looking up for the horn to blow, folks, because that's when it gets into nuclear war territory. Okay. Russia's ready to go. They're ready to go. They're set. They got their thumbs pressed on the button, waiting to press it. They got their bombers on high alert right now in case anything happens, any provocation or any type of nuke is detected. If there's a launch detection detected, folks, expect nuclear missiles to start coming out of the ground. Okay. And when that happens, it's already too late because that's already the nuclear war started. The war is over, basically. Remember the movie the day after, when the missiles already came out of the ground, one of the soldier guys, when they were trying to get under the silo underground, he said the war is over with. Why do we need to sit here and watch this silo site? It's already done. All the missiles are coming out of the ground. Once they hit their targets, the war is over. Well, it is basically, because once that's the last phase of the war is when it goes nuclear, folks. When the bombers are all out of the ground and they're on their way to their targets, that's it. The war is over. That's just the last bit of the war. When all the bombs hit their targets, all the people are dead. They have accomplished what they wanted to accomplish. After that, there's going to be just, I don't even want to say it on the show, but you could see the picture of the aftermath of nuclear war. There's a nuclear winter that comes and sets in for a couple weeks. There's radiation everywhere. There's this death everywhere. I don't need to sit there and explain it to you. Now, do you really think the Lord's going to allow that to happen with his church here? Do you really think he's going to let it happen at all? No, because that can't happen. And then the Antichrist in the 7-year tribulation, the building of the third temple, and all that stuff. It sounds like there's a world and they're all worshiping him. There's peace for 3.5 years. That doesn't sound like a war-torn world right there. It sounds like a war that was stopped in a nick of time. So right there, that shows you that this war gets stalled or stopped by someone. That's the Antichrist, folks. It has to be. Okay? It's not some breakthrough leader that's going to pop out, we know, like Trump or something. It's going to be someone that we've never seen before. That's how I know that the rapture of the church is right there, folks. It has to happen first, and then then this man will stop it. So look for the horn to blow, folks. When this gets ready to go nuclear, and we'll see it all over the news. When they start testing our phones for alerts saying, hey, you know what I'm talking about, Dustin. It's that alert system that comes on our phone. They do. This is just a test. It's just in case an event of a nuclear attack. People be saying, okay, well, this is not really an attack, but in an event of a real attack, please seek the nearest shelter. Well, that's what you'll start seeing. When you start seeing that, folks, be ready to go up in the clouds at 80 times. That's how they know it's getting close. Because the president orders that. So look, send them alerts on their phone so they'll be ready when an attack occurs.
Right. I don't know. I mean, I got this feeling, though, under this administration, they wouldn't send us an alert. I think they would keep us in the dark. But the only ones that would get an alert would be Hawaii, because that's where all their underground bunkers are. That's where all the elite are going. They're going to Hawaii. They might not send us alert. I mean, now, would God allow us to be here during a nuclear strike? I don't know. I don't think so. But at the same time, if it was a limited strike, if it was something that, would cause people to run to the house of God or cause people to repent just before, you know what I'm saying? Like, let's say we get struck by a couple nukes, somewhere in the world, like one of our allies, not necessarily the United States, because Russia said that they would strike NATO bases or all targets. And if that were to take place, the possibility of God using that as a means to a last call, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because how many people would then be persuaded to, you know what I'm saying, call out to God? Because look what happened after 9/11. After 9/11, everybody was in church. I mean, there was not a church that was empty. You know what I'm saying? And then 2-3 days later, or following Sunday, it was back to, the way it was. Nobody was going. Parking lots were empty. The fear went down. But I think that in a nuclear strike, a limited one, not a full blown, because I don't know, something's going to have to happen. But I just don't know if it will get out of control right away. You know what I'm saying? Because there's still other things during the final 7 years that have to take place. But if the whole world is destroyed, then, you know what I'm saying, there's not really going to be anybody left. So I think possibly it could be a limited nuclear strike that could cause a reaction. I don't know. I mean, like you said, God knows.
Yeah, he knows everything, folks.
But I just don't think they'll give us an alert sign for some reason. I just think that
the
this
Lord
administration
text message people, the governments. I'm talking about when I said they'll send us a warning message on their phone. I wasn't talking about God that's doing that. I'm talking about the government's doing that.
Yeah, I was too. I was talking about the government. I don't think they'll. I'm almost doubting that they would send you know what I'm saying? They're that evil. Now, Trump was in office and this was happening. Maybe he would send an alert to our cell phones, but because that's just, they're wicked, and they don't let us know what's going on. Anyways, I mean, if our mainstream media is not telling us the stuff that's going on that we talk about on these programs, do you really think they're gonna say, hey, Michigan or Florida, there's a nuclear warhead coming in? I don't think so. I think they're, the joy of us by element of surprise would be what they're looking for.
Yeah, let me read on to this article. I totally agree here on that note. Let me go ahead and read a little bit more about this article. Russia is a breath away from use of tactical nuclear weapons after a rapid escalation in its relations with NATO. Okay, look at this. Putin's advisor, Dmitry Savsala, if I read that right, suggested a first test nuclear explosion. That's bad if they do that. A mushroom broadcast live around the world through the media And then if NATO does not come to its senses, the regular use of tactical nuclear weapons. Can you believe that, folks? If Russia does something like that, that's going to really scare the crap out of a lot of people. Look at this. A member of the Russian Foreign Ministry and Defense Policy Council, he suggested that they're crossing Russia's toughest red line, folks. The West does not believe that the seriousness of the Russian nuclear deterrent and allow itself to cross its borders with one another. What can Russia do clearly to show that to determine this? I don't have time to read this whole article, but NATO is at war with Russia. These basically, this says it all, folks. I mean, can't make this up, folks. We got one more here. The door to the madhouse. Look at this. The door to the madhouse opens. NATO will strike through Ukraine's strategic targets deep in Russia. Statement 3PP from Holland. So that's how they're going to do it. I think they're going to go into Ukraine and shoot it out of Ukraine into Russia. And Russia's going to see that detection. They're going to say, this is NATO doing this. And they're going to strike NATO targets, folks. Okay? We are very close to declaring World War III. This is red flag warnings, folks. This is how we know that there's going to be, this year looks very high for the Rapture to happen. The war in Ukraine is now developing into an open Russia-NATO war as U.S., Britain, Germany officially gave permission for Kyiv to strike the Russian hinterland, while the Netherlands went a step further. Okay? The Netherlands is not against the use of X-16 fighter jets by Ukraine to strike on territories in Russia, territories of Russia. I don't know if that's in or out of Russia. Wow, folks. Dutch affirms Ukrainian F-16 strikes inside Russia. That is bad, folks.
Yep.
What are you thinking about, people? Are they nuts? Have they lost their minds, folks? Boy, you better
this is their plan
out of here, which we will. Imagine if the Lord left us here. We'd be dead. It wouldn't work. The Antichrist can't take over a world that's destroyed. It's not going to work. That's how we know it's not going to happen, folks.
Well, it's all part of the Great Reset.
Well, that's in 2030. So why would all this be going on now if they're going to wait till 2030?
Well, I mean, what their goal is to reduce the population as much as they can. Because when you're trying to implement a system and you have a lot of people who won't comply with the system, they know there's a lot of people that are going to buck against it. Well, you got to get rid of those people. You got to get rid of the people who don't want to jump on board.
That's happening because 2030 is it's like a ways away still.
Yeah.
So why are they doing the nuclear war stuff now?
They're obviously.
I don't think that's feasible. I'm going to have to say that I think the Great Reset is something that Charles Schwab, it was his idea. He stepped down as chairman. They think that they may not even go through with that, folks. It's just an idea that they thought of, that they're working towards, to building a better economies and stuff. That's just something from the economic system that they're trying to put together. But really, the Antichrist is going to have something much way better than that. That's coming a lot sooner.
Well,
I know that opinion.
I know in September they're getting together again like they did last September, and they're going back over the SDGs, the Sustainable Development Goals. And all the heads of the states, kings, prime ministers, they're all coming to meet again together at the UN General Assembly, and they're going to bring these back before the world community. And I know even though Klaus Schwab has stepped down, his daughter's taken over, and she's more wicked than he is. She wants the Great Reset done as of yesterday. Okay.
Well, maybe that's why they're pushing for nuclear war right now, right? Reduce population, then they have their reset afterwards.
Yeah.
What are they going to reset? A war-torn world with rubble everywhere? Good luck with that. That's a dumb idea. They need to do it now while everything's up and all working, while the economy is running. See, that won't work. That's why I believe the Antichrist, his Great Reset is coming. Forget about all that Great Reset stuff in 2030, folks. I personally think the Antichrist is going to take it from here. When the world war starts popping off, we go up, the Antichrist comes, he creates a 7-year tribulation. That is going to be the great reset, the Antichrist version of it. Satan has a better version of it, Dustin. That's just my strong opinion on that.
Well, to have the kingdom of the Antichrist and a new world order, you got to get rid of the old world order.
Well, he can do it quickly because he'll have it. Satan's power will be in him. He'll have powers to do all that, and he can do it quickly. God will make sure this man will be equipped with supernatural powers. He'll pull it off just like that. There ain't no serpent in this garden that's going to mess that up. Trust me on that.
Yeah, it's all coming together though really quickly. I just, with China saying they're going to take Taiwan the beginning of June and France declaring war on the 6th within the next couple of days. As soon as they declare war, Russia's going to say, okay, and I've heard Putin say many times, we will not strike first. We will be martyrs. We will, retaliate, and they'll just basically hit every nuclear button they have, and the thing is I think the problem here in America is that we think we can't be touched. We think we're invincible. We think that our government is going to protect us. But when you realize that our government doesn't want to protect us, our government hates us, it hates the Christian conservative, it hates people who don't believe in a global system, who don't believe in borders, who don't believe in socialistic mentality. Our government hates Christians. Why? Because they stand on the word of God. And they hate that Judeo-biblical Christian value that says their way of life is wrong. And they got to eliminate us, get rid of us. And the only way to do that is either by some plague or nuclear weapon or some other means maybe they have that I don't know of yet. But if you want to get rid of a mass quantity of the problem, and to them, we're the problem, take it out quick. And while they go hide in their little bunkers, stocked with food and water, and they have all the ammunition and all the guns and bullets and everything that they've been telling us that we can't have, they've been stockpiling on. So then when they come out and who's ever left over after the dust settles, they take control. And I'm reminded of that movie, Red Dawn, and I always thought that was kind of laughable. But when you have an open border like we do, and you have a socialistic government north of us, like Canada, run by what's his name, Justin Trudeau, Fidel Castro's son. When you have him in power, and I guess there's Chinese troops up there, and there's Chinese troops in the bottom, or someplace in Mexico, and that's what I've heard. And then they saw on camera a young Chinese men coming over our border. They've detected them, and it's just like, my goodness. What if on the 6th they declare war, everything goes down, America's caught off guard?
Oh.
What do we do? We don't know. What was it? What did they say? 13 million people come across this border?
Yeah, you got sleeper cells too that could be activated. Once they see this war pop off and starts going nuclear, folks, I wouldn't be surprised that every sleeper cell in the world will start to go active because they know, hey, everybody's blowing things up. We might as well do it too. I'm talking about sleeper cells. They're like, hey guys, well, everything nuclear war is going on. It's wartime. They go out, let's do it. That's what they're going to do. They're going to start blowing everything up. And folks, be safe out there. Hell yeah, stay away from populated areas if that happens. Okay? If things start blowing up downtown around you, get out of there, man. And just pray for people that a lot of people don't die from that. Leaving the border wide open, like you said, who knows what's coming over that border right now, folks? It could be Russians, undercover spies, waiting to be activated to do stuff, to sabotagers.
Yeah.
Well,
I've heard that we've already have Chinese police stations here. I've heard all this stuff, and I'm thinking, okay, well, what for? Well, why is our government allowing, things on our homeland. You know, I mean, that's what just when I see the things like open border and depleting our military and, you know, taking away our guns so we can't protect ourselves. And when I see all this stuff going on, I really highly doubt the fact that they're going to let us know when it's happening. It's just going to catch us all by surprise. And the only way we're going to know anything is if we're smart enough to look on the outside past the propaganda media that's government owned by the United States. And I'm talking about your Fox News, Newsmax, even CNN, MSNBC, all of them. It's all propaganda. They don't talk about anything you're talking about tonight, Rick. Not one thing. They may touch upon it, brief on it, but then they go right back to Martha Stewart's cooking or something. To them, that's more important, you know? I'm like, okay, well, I guess, you know, while the world's getting blown up, we need to know how to make cheesecake. But it's silly. And we put our faith and we put our trust in the very government that's trying to kill us. And if they don't want to have blood on their hands, they'll just have someone else do it for them.
Yeah.
You know, I remember the Boston bombers. Remember when those two young men in pressure cookers and they bombed? They had, from what I heard, Russian troops under the banner of UN flying, you know, UN soldiers. They were Russian in our homeland, knocking on people's doors and taking their guns. Because American soldiers cannot be on our land kicking down the doors and taking guns from the people. And that's one of the things that they were talking about on the mainstream media. It was a few years ago, man. What was it? 2013, 14, around there. I'm not sure exactly when that bombing was. But we had foreign troops on our soil taking away our guns. And that's the kind of stuff that goes on in a one world government. When you sign up for the military, the UN can take your little American badge off your uniform and slap a UN sticker and put you under the command of someone else in a foreign country, a U.S. soldier. And that stuff's going all around the world. And that's what the purpose of NATO is. You're having people. So it's like when it says all the countries are gathered together. It's not all the countries, but every country can be represented under the United Nations. And that's what's going on right now in Ukraine. You got American troops there. You got France. You got UK. You got Germany. And they're all under the banner of the United Nations. So when you declare war on one, you declare war on all. That's why they have to invoke Article 5. It's sick.
Look at this. I just saw this just now, folks. I just want you to see this real quick. French soldier captured alive by Russian troops in Ukraine. This is on June 3rd. So obviously, look at this is going on. Video below shows capture of French military by Russian army in the area village of Lipsy, Kharkiv area, where active hostilities between Russia, armed forces, and AFU is now taking place. The soldier was not instructing Ukrainian troops. He was engaging in active firefight with Russian troops. So, folks, what's going to happen out of all that? That's just going to escalate even more, folks. That alone can escalate things, more tensions. They've got one of your troops over there. You know, God only knows what they're doing to that person, beating them up. Who knows? They can interrogate, get information out of him. Like, what are they planning? Do you think he's going to break? Or what do you think? You think he's going to sit there and talk? Probably not. What kind of tactics do Russians have for interrogations? I wouldn't be surprised how good they are at doing it. You know, they've probably done it. They probably had a lot of practice. Something tells me they've had a lot of practice in the past 2 years with that. You know.
Well, that just goes to show you, you know, French soldier captured, and they said they're declaring war on the 6th. So that's in what, 3 days?
Yeah, I'm watching that, and you know, other YouTube channels are saying this too. I'm looking through some of them right now as you're saying this. Russia basically is saying all NATO countries will be hit. There's one person saying that. Why did the U.S. inform Russia about ICMs will launch in June 4th, and something about June 6th to provoke So something's coming on June 6th. Then we had this one girl. Check this out, Dustin. She was talking about how they're thinking that the rapture is going to take place on the 11th of June. Then you got all this stuff before that happening on a few days before. It just so happens, and what if it does happen on the 11th? Then it's probably because of that stuff there we just read for June 6th.
I hope it happens on the 12th. That's my birthday. That's why.
Hey, happy birthday, Dustin. What a day that would be for you.
I know, right?
Your birthday and then to be reborn again in a new body again. That would be a double birthday for you, man.
I know. I'll be 43, and I'm thinking, okay, 4 plus 3, that's 7. And I'm trying to hope, like, Lord, let there be some death. But yeah, right.
I'll be right there to say happy birthday to you, buddy. Imagine that.
Oh, absolutely. I'm thinking, Lord, just, kind of push it over just one more day if possible. But it's 12, it's the 12th somewhere in the world.
Yeah. Well, just think. You'll be able to spend your birthday in heaven at least. I don't know if time is the same up there, which I don't think it is, but you'll be like, It's my birthday, God. Let's have a birthday party. You won't need a birthday party. It's a party every day up here, a beautiful party. Not no alcoholic beverages. I'm talking about a real celebration every day. Okay?
Right. Yeah, I heard about that, though, the 11th. And I was thinking to myself, because they were talking about it being the real Pentecost, because we had the Jewish calendar was off. Because they try to sync their calendar with ours, so they got to add 2 months every so many years, add our 1, add our 2, and it throws things off. So we get the wrong, feast day or Pentecost or something like that. So they're saying that Pentecost is this month. And there's a possible,
Yeah, Pentecost. Yes.
Yeah. And I'm not quite sure what day it was, but then I heard like the 6th, I've heard the 11th, and I've heard the 21st. These are the days in June to look for. So, because I know the 21st, I think it is a full moon. So.
What do you think the planetary alignments that just going on today?
Yes, 6 of them.
Planets, 6 months left of the year.
Yeah. I don't know. Well, God said there'll be signs in the sun, the moon, and the stars, in the heavens. And so, he gives everybody a bit of information. And, I think what a lot of people do is God will give this person something, and then God will give this person over here something. And a lot of times people say, well, no, I'm right, and no, this person's right, and they'll try to come out with this whole, by one information that God gives them, they'll come out with this whole thing on how that's supposed to happen. Well, what if God, instead of was the reason him giving it to this person over here and this person over here, and so everybody comes together and puts the pieces of the puzzle together, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
Instead of taking that piece he gives you and making your own little, whole teaching out of it, well, maybe you're supposed to connect with someone who has the other piece.
Right.
Because what you're saying, you're basing all off just this little piece, but yet you don't have the full picture because you just got a piece of the puzzle. So if I'm the person, and I think that's what global rapture watchers and people are doing, they're finding people online who God has given a dream, and then God's given this person a dream, and God's given that person a dream, and they're finding each other, and they're putting the pieces together, and it's really interesting.
Yes, sir. Trying to find somebody here, but I mean, folks, there's a lot of prepper channels out there that are talking about this, like New York Prepper, and we got one that's called Canadian Prepper. I'm trying to find his channel here. I don't know why it didn't come up on my thing here.
Look up off-grid desert farming with Paul and Adrian. They're good.
Yeah,
like
they
I
are.
said,
They're all pretty good. I just want to hear this one alarming video, but this is 22 hours ago. I'm going to play a little bit of this guy. I'm just going to play the audio, but if you get a chance, please check his channel out, Canadian Prepper, and subscribe to his channel. It's pretty good. Also, the one he just said, Paul and Adrian Off-Grid Desert Farming, check him out, and New York Prepper. I don't know if you're going to hear this on here. I think it may come in on the audio. I don't know. I think I have to share the page to do that. I think I do. All right, hold on. Let's see here. Yeah, I think I can do this. All right. Check this out. I'm only going to play about a minute of it. But listen how this guy is all about, connecting the dots of the wars that are going on. He's on top of it. That's one good thing about Prepper channels. They stay on top of the war news. That's why I like them so much. And this guy talks about how to survive stuff in a nuclear war. A nuclear war is survivable, folks, if you really play it smart. This guy is one of the go-to guys that can do it for you. Also, he's really got a lot of good material that he has out and how to survive it. I'm just going to play a minute or two of this. Listen to this. His title says, NATO crosses the red line this week. Cyber war, Article 5, China, Israel, and Germany, 900,000 troops. Let me just play a little. Tell me if you hear this, folks.
Okay, let's
Did you hear that, Justin?
Yeah, I can hear it.
Okay.
talk about financial implosion, bird flu, civil war, World War III on 3 fronts unfolding: Taiwan, Ukraine, and the Middle East, cyber attack, climate chaos, and
Anyways, right now I'm showing you this, folks. We want to hear what other people are saying right now about the current situation. That way, you're just not the only one talking about it. Other people that are aware of this. Let's continue.
artificial intelligence killing all of humanity within 2 years, according to an expert just interviewed on the Lex Friedman podcast. Now, primarily what I want to talk about today is the French troops that are going to be deploying to Ukraine next week. Macron is going there for a visit. We need to debunk any claims that these guys are going there for the purpose of instructing Ukrainians. Let's get something straight. In terms of peer-to-peer combat, high-intensity combat, maneuver warfare between two modern civilizations, Russia and NATO, because that's who's fighting Russia right now. NATO has no experience except that which they've gained through mercenaries and through having guys on the ground studying how the battle's unfolding. And that's primarily the purpose of most of the instructors who've been on the ground, I would say, in the last year or so, is intelligence gathering and to make sure that the Russians aren't the only ones who are gaining experience in this type of combat, because it's not enough to just allow the Ukrainians to continue to develop this skill set and this level of acumen as it's pertinent to the operational space. Because if Ukraine ever does go rogue or reunifies with Russia, which still is a possibility that a sizable chunk of that country could go into civil unrest and actually overthrow Zelensky, which is why between NATO and Russia, sure, we may have more advanced, hundreds of thousands of Ukrainians who have to act as the tip of the spear. This is the same time that Belarus has now the nuke. That way, you don't go to immediate mutually assured destruction.
Anyways, he talks about that. Now I'm going to just go to this next person that I want to just I'm giving shout outs for these channels, guys. Okay. That's what I'm doing here. You should be seeing this one. This is another one we talked about. This is Off-Grid Desert and Farming with Paul and Adrian. These guys are really good. Subscribe to their channel. Let me just show you what he's talking about. This is the title, Putin's Last Warning. Okay, time is almost up. June 6th, D-Day announcement by Macron. There it is again. Let me listen to just a little bit of his.
Hello, everybody. This is Paul from Off-Grid Desert Farming with Paul and Adrian. This is June the 3rd, 2024. I want to welcome you to our broadcast. This is going to be short this morning, but I just wanted to get this information out to you. I think the showdown is coming, possibly even this week. So many things are in play right now. The United States launched a massive attack on Russia this morning using ATACMS missiles, took out an S-400 missile defense system. Wow. We have news that things are about to get very, very bad on this earth, folks. This is the latest information. Vladimir Putin's last warning. Last warning, beware the small, densely populated NATO countries. They will not withstand a nuclear strike. Full speed ahead to Russian retaliatory strike. Putin did address his country this morning in a speech, and I'm going to play that for you just in a few minutes. This is the latest breaking news. President Vladimir Putin himself threatened NATO member countries with the use of nuclear weapons, saying that the small populous countries of the alliance must be careful, implying that they would not be able to withstand a nuclear strike unless unlike Russia and its vast territory. The Russian president then commented on the statements of Jens Stoltenberg and other Western Stoltenberg, the target in what is known as a launch mission, supply these. It's all going down. NATO is unofficially at war with Russia, but soon on June the 6th, they will be officially at war with Russia. It's all going down. Putin said the launch of other systems like ATACMS, for example, is also.
So there's that channel. I'm going to do one more channel, folks. This is the girl that talked about June 11th. That's how I was listing about it. Let me share her channel. That'll be the last channel we share right now, because we got timer pressed right now. This girl here is Blue Heaven. She was on Uptime Community Church. She was on one of their broadcasts. Okay. She was on there, invited as a panelist guest. Blue Heaven, check her out. She's good. Just go ahead and listen to her channel. Subscribe to her. As you see, I'm subscribed. This is huge. This is the title. Watching June 11th for Rapture, Jesus, and Nuclear War Coming. So more people are saying and confirming the same thing we're saying. Just so you know, we're not crazy, folks. Let me play a little bit of her real quick.
Well, so I was in prayer this morning, and the Lord showed me some very interesting things that I want to tell you. Now, like I've said in the past, I just haven't had the right time to sit down and, draw everything out perfectly and edit and all this stuff. In fact, I can't edit at all anymore. The things stopped working. I guess you have to get an upgrade. But now I can't even put pictures together. And I can't show you anything either. I would have liked to show you stuff of what I'm going to tell you, like pictures can help a lot. So I apologize for that. I cannot do that. And I, because of the urgency of this message, as usual, see, I mentioned it before, I can't respond to something I wanted to respond to. To me, what I'm seeing, okay? Never saying thus says the Lord. But with that said, I'm looking at right now, between now and June 11th, Rapture. But this is one of the most amazing times I've seen since I started doing this. And so here's the thing. The Lord had me look up, 2030, because of the 2030 Messiah and Yeshua coming back in 2030. However, as we know, time started to run out for that. But where does that leave us? Well, 2030 would end on April 23rd, 2031. That would be when the new year begins, which would be our 2031. Now, what's really neat is that God showed me today about Enoch and how he was the first man raptured, but he was 365 years old. God put 24 hours in a day, open 24/7. The Jewish year is new moon is 517. Okay. If he comes back May 7th on the lunar eclipse, 31, which again, remember, is April 22nd, is still 2030. Through a lot, folks. I really saw it this time, but it says when the fig tree brings forth its branches, did it years ago. You got to wonder about that one too. Now, again, we could leave before the 11th. I'm not saying we got to wait. One more thing, I'll close.
Anyways, guys, Sorry to skip around on the video. I just wanted to give a little sample of it. People are talking about this, folks, and it's getting around really quick on the YouTube populace, because it ain't just something that we just brought up on this channel tonight, folks. Others have been talking about this even before this show tonight. As you can see there, those videos were out before mine. They were not after Rick said something first. I didn't say anything first. I said all this after these videos came out. Now, of course, I watch them and I learn a little bit, but I also give you my also personal insight. And that's where most of it comes from, my own personal insight. I get it from what I learned and also my own personal insight. And then, as you can see, the guy next to me here, Dustin, he gives you his personal insight, what he thinks. Okay? It kind of lines up. Everything is lining up what we're saying here with others out there saying the same thing. All we can do is sit there and sit and wait. Now, I'm not saying June 11th, the rapture's coming. Now, I'm going to be careful what I say about others on here, but if you say it's definitely coming on the 11th, definitely, and it doesn't happen, you're setting yourself up. And we know that, Dustin. People shouldn't be doing that. You should be saying, coming on this day, folks, I declare the rapture coming on the day. And it doesn't happen. That's a lot of people that you just duped right there. And they're going to be unsubscribing to your channel.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
Well, I'm hoping for the 12th. So.
Yeah, well, it happens on the 12th, and I think the Lord just did that just for Dustin. He raptured the whole world just for you, man. And I'll be first person to hug will be you, buddy, if he did that. I'm like, Dustin, where are you, man? How did you do it, man? You persuade God to do the rapture that early? Thanks, man. That would be cool.
The thing is, though, is I've said this I think I said last week or the week before, I have never seen in my entire life everything coming together like it the way it is right now.
I know.
And I don't want to say it's scary, but, it's fearful for those. When you have family members who aren't living for God, and you're wanting them to wake up, and they just refuse. And, I think the problem with a lot of people is they think they have time. And they don't. Time is out. We are out of time. Jesus is not coming back 20 years from now, 10 years from now. You know what I'm saying? And people put it off like, I think, to me personally, I think that's the danger in teaching your kids about those fairy tale, Santa Claus and Easter Bunny and stuff like that. Because when at a little age, when you put their faith in something only to crush it when they get a little bit older, then they're like, okay, well, what about God? Is God like Santa Claus? Is he not real? You know what I'm saying? When you put your faith in mythical creatures that aren't real, then when it comes to God, they kind of tend to do that. And they may not say it, but they live it in their lifestyle. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And all those people who aren't going to make it, that's what I want Jesus to come right now. But then I'm thinking to myself, what about the people? What about the people who are going to be left behind?
Yeah, we got to think of that as our own flag. I think about that all the time. I said, well, I'm being selfish, God. I'm sorry. I'm thinking of my own flesh. There's others that a lot of people are going to be left behind. So why do I keep praying for it to happen this year when there's millions of people that could have been saved?
Yeah.
At that point, and God's gonna be like, well, Rick, we just left about 10 million people behind. I really wish we could have waited another couple more months. We could have saved it. Now those people got to go through the trib because you were too eager to get here. Well, that's not what I'm doing, folks. All I'm saying is that it would be nice if it happened this year. Now, God has it all timed out, or timed perfectly. This is what I've heard from some pastors have said that when the last person gets saved, the Lord that he can save now, that won't take the tribulation, only take a swift kick in the butt instead of a hard kick in the face. That's the ones that he wants to save now. All the rest, it just ain't going to budge. They're going to need something harder to hit them with. And that's the tribulation. Then the rapture shall be triggered. So that, all I'm saying is I pray to God that last person gets saved this year. That's how I not kind of pray it now. Because now we know it's keeping it in fairness. Okay.
Well, the signs are there. We are without excuse. When you read signs like that, we're at war with NATO's at war. People really don't grasp that. They don't have the, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
They think because when they think of war, because it's never happened here on our main soil except for the Civil War, you know what I'm saying? They don't think about the fact that, okay, nuclear bomb could fall on, South Carolina or North Carolina. Sorry for anyone who's in the, chat room that lives in those states. But I just didn't want to pick Michigan because that's where I live. But, what if, bombs do fall on our country? It's like, my goodness, the headlines are there and people are still ignoring them. They don't believe it. And how do you wake someone up that refuses to wake up? How do you, I don't know.
How do you wake someone up? Well,
Yeah,
I
how do you wake
mean,
someone up that refuses to get woke up? No matter how many headlines you show them, no matter how many times you tell them you got to get right with God, Jesus is coming, war's about to take place, nuclear war, and they look at you like a deer in headlights.
mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like,
Mm-hmm.
no, I got 20, 30 years from now, I'm going to live my life. Everything's going to go on as it is. They just don't believe. Because they've been, I think,
they're
they're
too
just
comfortable with their lives. That's why.
That's it. They're comfortable. They're comfortable in their sin. They've been deceived.
They don't want to give up all those dirty habits. So, well, I have to give up all my habits, and then I'm going to be unhappy.
Yeah.
I'm going to be bored and depressed. Oh, I miss all those things. All the fun nights going downtown with my friends, drinking and meeting women. Oh, I had to give all that up? No way, man. And that's what they got to do. And I said, well, God, well, you know what? It pays off in the long run. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I know you guys like to go out and have fun, but it pays off in the long run. And what I mean by that is either you die the next day in a car accident and you end up in heaven, that paid off right there. Or when the rapture comes, and it's soon coming, you get to leave the ground with the rest of us. That pays off itself. It pays itself off in the long run. Okay. Now, it'd be a beauty if you decide, okay, I'm going to do it. I'm going to give my life to Christ, knock off all this stuff at the bars I've been doing. And then, of course, the rapture comes the next day. You just got very lucky. And there's going to be people that just got saved the same day the rapture happens. Can you imagine that? That's how quickly a lot of people are getting saved right now. There's a revival that's going on like crazy because, well, I won't say crazy, but that there will be a lot of people that get saved on the same day the rapture happens. And it's an act of God. It's an act of God that is that time for that person to get saved. And those, let's say 100,000 people get saved on the day of the rapture, then that last 100,000 person was the last person that had to be saved before the rapture was triggered.
I hear it all the time. I hear people say all the time, oh, you're always saying the Lord's coming, Lord's coming. There is coming the day when you will be in the last month, the last week, and the last day. That day is coming. It is going to come. Well, I mean, we're not up in heaven. We don't see God's, clock on the wall counting down the numbers. What if it is?
Can you imagine seeing that? Be like, wow, man.
I think some of us saw that clock, we'd be shocked. Oh my goodness, we thought we had more time than what we do. You know what I'm saying? I think it's a lot closer to the last minutes. Now, I'm not talking about like months or years. You know what I'm saying? I'm thinking the clock is ticking, and it's just a lot closer than what I believe.
I agree with you. Can you imagine, Dustin, if you looked at the clock and it said, oh, it's got 10 years left before we go home? You'd be like, oh, really?
Well, look, like you said earlier, we're already in the middle of June.
I know.
Or, I mean, not in the middle of June, but, getting ready to be in the first couple of weeks of June. I mean, we're in the middle of the year already. You know what I'm saying? A year is like 6 months. Time is just...
It's going fast.
It just seems like Joe Biden just got elected president. And that was almost 4 years ago. Time just flies so fast.
Yeah, I hear you, man. There's a reason for that, I think, because God, if time was slow, then a lot more stuff gives Satan more time to do what he wants to do, folks. So he's shortening the years now. Imagine, he said in the Bible he's going to shorten the days, or else nobody would be saved by it or something, he says in one of the verses. that is already starting to happen now. It's at a slower rate, but during the 7 years, that will happen really quickly at the appointed time. So we got 10 more minutes, folks. Anybody got questions for me and Dustin? Go ahead and fire away, guys. Give us some questions. Here's one right here. Let's see if this one there. Okay. CD19 forced. I can't put that on there. Let's see. I'm looking for some questions here. Anybody that put up? Here we go. This one here is from Sheep. There's your buddy there, Dustin. They say stock up food, this and that, fight for the Antichrist. Whoever is to fight. Seriously? Would you want to answer that one, Dustin, for him?
Let me read it. They say stock up food, this and that, and fight the Antichrist or whoever is to fight. Well, you're not going to be able to stock up. I mean, you can stock up now, stock up all you want to, and if you miss the rapture and you're left behind, all that food you're going to have stocked up, put away, all that storage. I mean, you can be like New York Prepper or Canadian Prepper or Mullet Man from off-grid desert farming, but all you got to do is, bring stuff into your home and your neighbor see you bring it in, and they'll notify the authorities, because under a socialistic government, they're going to have what they call credit score system, and it's going to be operated just like it is in China. Your neighbor will police you, and if they tell on you, their credit score goes up. So there's not going to be anything safe. People are going to tell on each other. Your own family's going to turn on you, and anything you do have that's prepped, it's going to be taken away from you, because you're not going to have that self-dependence. The government is going to want you depending on them, and they're going to try to force you to take the mark. Somehow, miraculously, if you survive, that's why it says those that are alive and remain, there's not going to be a lot of people remaining in the end. There's not. It's going to be scarce.
Right.
And there's just going to be a few people. It's not going to be like those movies you see where, they're all, hiding from the New World Order. There's not going to be anywhere to hide from those. They're going to be able to find you, because I'm going to tell you right now, when you get hungry enough, you don't think straight, and you'll do something stupid, and you'll slip up, and they'll catch your butt. And that's why I say, take the ticket, get on the boat, get out of here. Don't be a fool. Don't play with your life. This is the only time you got to get right with God is now. You can mock, you can laugh, you can scoff. That's all right. But when, you mock and scoff yourself to the point where you're left behind because you don't want to believe, hey, you have no one to blame but yourself. And when you're faced with that, hey, I got to take the mark, or, I'll get my head cut off. Nobody wants to go through that, and I don't wish that on anybody. But
Guys,
stocking up,
go
don't
ahead.
mean nothing. No, I was just saying, stocking up for food, water, it's not gonna do you no good.
Yeah. This is Dustin. Type this address and you'll find Dustin's YouTube channel. He's got a great channel, folks. Lots of good info and videos. So there it is. It's also on his name handle under his video. You'll see it there too. But
I was real quick. I was going through my Rumble channel, my backup channel for when I was when I believed in post-trib, and I was watching some of my videos today from when I believed in a post-trib. That mindset that I had, that mentality where I was all about prepping. I was all about getting my head cut off. I had it all planned out, where I was going to go, how I was going to, bug out somewhere, hunker down, do some bushcraft. I watched a lot of bushcraft videos. You know what I'm saying? Digging holes underground, making places. I was ready to go, man.
it was depressing, though, because you knew that it's a lot of survival just to get your head chopped off. Now it's all changed now. Now all you look for, you don't have to do anything. You don't have to prep at all, bro. Just sit back and enjoy the movie or enjoy the show until we're gone. God's already got your prep for you.
Right, but when I was watching those videos, looking back, I'm thinking, my goodness, you know, I'm thinking to myself,
What was I doing?
how, what exactly? Like, what was wrong with me? You know, I mean, my goodness, I just can't believe how like I was so zealous for, you know what I'm saying, getting my head cut off. You know what I'm saying? To me, that was the ultimate. That was the
Justin, have you
prize.
lost your mind? Have you lost your head? It was literally
Yeah,
going to lose his head, man.
I did. I wanted to be a martyr. I did. I wanted to, and I still wouldn't mind it. I would give my life in a second for, you know, what I believe. Don't get me wrong, but it's a whole lot better feeling when you know you don't have to.
Yeah. But when you went to
So
bed that night, you said, "Oh wow!" There's so much proof in the scripture, folks, that the rapture is first, and then the Antichrist comes, and then we come back. You know, there's so many
yeah,
things that point to the rapture church coming first. Pre-trib, it's always that way. It's always going to be that way. Satan is the one that tries to take the scriptures and he'll use them against you to twist them and destroy you, to lose hope. You'll be like, he wants you to be not comforted in these words, as Jesus said. Comfort one of these,
right,
another of these words, that I shall be coming for you all. He says, where I go, I prepare a place for you, so you'll be too. Now, if he says that, what is this place he's preparing for us, and where are we going? You know, if he's coming back, what are we going to do? Come up and then go back with him? He doesn't do it in a 180 UE. Oh, we got to go back up again, guys. What? I thought you were coming
right.
back. Then the Antichrist will win, and he'll have the world war. He'll have the war for the world for another 7 years. That's 14 years he'll have on the world, or whatever. No, he comes back to the earth with us to kick the crap out of the Antichrist. He'll get his butt handed to him, folks. Okay, so you know
Hmm.
when he left on that mountain that day. There's good movies out there that show him leaving. The angels appear in the sky. He says, I'm going to the Father now, and I'm going where I go. I will prepare a place for you, so you would go too one day. So we're all going to be going to heaven with him. So it sounds like the rapture right there. So there's a
It's
place
close.
right now waiting for us. It's got our names on every house or whatever we got, dwelling place. There's many mansions in the Father's house. That's the way he said it. Mansions are pretty big, and I imagine they're a lot bigger up there, and how beautiful they may look. Give you an idea, just look at some of these AI images on YouTube of heaven. It's looks pretty accurate almost, even though we've never been there. So, you know, we have a nice place picked out for us. So, and based on your rewards, you know, what will you get? I guess if your rewards are really great, like if you have a lot of them, or a lot of squid, you have more privileges. I don't know how it works. I don't know how the reward system. I'm not going to be going to heaven like with my hand out, say, "Hey, where's my reward now?" That's not the attitude that we need to have. We just be very lucky we got to set foot in the kingdom behind the pearl gates that open up. We just got very lucky to set foot in heaven. That's how I'm going to feel when I get there. It's like, oh man, thank you so much for not leaving me here. You know, I'll sweep the floors or whatever up there. I'm just glad to be there, not to be in hell. You know, but some people are saying,
Right.
"Oh, I better have all these rewards when I get there." You better shut your mouth. That's more likely I need to say to you guys. You better not go to heaven thinking like that. You'd be lucky that the Lord has saved your butt from going to hell. Be lucky he took you off this planet. Don't ever look God in the eye and say, "Look, I want my rewards." That is the wrong thing to say to God. You go there and when I get there, I'm gonna be shamed. I'm gonna be looking down like this. I'm sorry, God. I'm a sinner. But yes, I got to come to heaven, and I'm more than honored and more, and I'm gonna be very thankful. Okay.
I think sometimes, you know, people can be in love with heaven and love with the stuff and not love with God.
Oh
You know,
yeah. People are just there
because
just
you
to
hear a lot of the
just
songs, Christian contemporary songs. You hear a lot of the songs, and it's all about heaven. It's about, you know, mansions, streets of gold. It's about the stuff. But
yeah.
you know, it's like, well,
I can't
would
wait
you
to
go
set
to
up
heaven if it was dirt
Jesus.
roads? You know, what if heaven was nothing but dirt roads? Would you still want to go?
Oh, of course.
Yeah,
Hell, I don't care what it looks like up there as long as I'm not in
right.
hell.
But you get a lot of people who that's all they care about. They care about because they're materialistic. If they're materialistic down here, then you know what I'm saying. When they're like, oh, I'm gonna go to heaven. I'm gonna go to heaven. You know, and I'm thinking, well, you know, you got the wrong mindset. You know, you should be happy that, you know, even if you don't get a mansion, you know, if you have to sleep on the street, you know, I mean, it's like, just get there. You know, it's not about the stuff. It's about being with him. It's about seeing him as he is. And the highest calling anyone can ever have in their life is to be at the feet of Jesus. You know, that's the greatest calling in anyone's life. Humbling yourself and just to even lay at his feet. It's never really, it's not supposed to be about, you know, eternal life's great. Heaven, that's all bonus. That's extra.
Right.
But to be with him, you know what I'm saying? That's what it's all about. And I think a lot of people on this road have the wrong mindset of what heaven is about.
Boy, folks, I'll tell you, man. When I get there, first thing I'm gonna be doing is thanking Jesus and thanking God. I'm gonna be all about thanks to both. I'm gonna be like, Jesus, thank you for allowing me to come up. I want to see you and the Father. First thing, you give them a hug, both of them, shake their hand, whatever. You know, tell them both, hey, thank you. I'll be very honored to be coming here. I'll be in tears when I say it. When I get there, I'll be both of them. I'll say, look, I'm sorry for my sins, for that crazy, you know, sinful lives that we all live before we were saved, and now we're, you know, trying to live. And we deserve, none of us deserve heaven, folks. We all deserve hell because we were sinners. But Jesus died that we may still come to heaven and be there, you know. And then, you know, Dustin, we're coming back to this earth again, and it's not going to be the same place, folks, when we come back. I don't think it's going to be a war-torn world, you know, the war and all the stuff that's went on here during the tribulation. I don't think all that's going to be here. I think they're saying it's supposed to look like a paradise Eden with very little sin in it. And that's during the millennial. So that's what it'll look like. I guess God reconstructs or wipes out all the destruction with a wave of a hand, makes it all look like the way it was back in Adam and Eve's time when they first came here. It might look like that, but there'll be structures everywhere for us and stuff to live at or whatever. But then, of course, Satan is loose for a short while at the end of the millennial. Dustin, you know about that. He roams the earth, devouring like he's doing right now. Now, some say the earth is going to look like this again. It's going to be, you know, cities everywhere, cars on the street. It'll be just like this all over again at the end of the millennial. Because the people during the millennial will be very smart and technical and everything, because they'll be given an upgrade in their minds. And they'll be able to bring this earth back to the way it looked like right now again in 1,000 years. And it'll be very populated, a couple billion people. And I think what it is Satan's loose for a short while. Now, what is a short while? A couple hundred years? A short while to God's probably a couple hundred years, might be 10 years, might be, but Satan will be out there. He's going to try the tribes of Israel and all that, something that says the Bible. Would it be that we are going to be given specific jobs to do what, to deal with all that? Are we going to deal with all that? Are you and me, Dustin, are we going to have some kind of thing? Will it be like, and this is going to sound crazy, but will it be like maybe the Avengers / what's that movie? X-Men, where we have special powers and others don't, because those are the people in the millennium don't have all that, and we're going to fight off evil against the demonic forces that will be loose in the earth. I don't know, folks, but then God ends everything and destroys it all. The heavens will roll away in like a scroll. That's what it says, and he renews. He says, "I make everything brand new again." So it's an exciting time coming, folks. Well, folks, we are at the end of my show. Okay. I just want to thank everybody for being on here. It's late. I'm going to go right to bed after this, Dustin. If it was at 8:30 to 10:30, I'd stick around and chat with you in the back studio. I'm just going to cut everything off and go right to bed. I want to thank Dustin for joining us tonight. Check his channel out. Put the @ sign. It's right there on the screen. End Time Generation is _. Go to his channel, subscribe to him. Next week, we will be back on at 8:30 p.m. this time, okay? You know, I appreciate all my subscribers coming on here and tuning in tonight. Please hit subscribe. It only takes 2 seconds of your time, folks. That way, you know, you can be notified. Hit the notification bell. It's free to do. And hit the like button helps our video climb the YouTube algorithm. Okay? So, Dustin, I appreciate it, bro.
No problem.
I'm gonna let Luz. You have any final thoughts before we go?
Well, Jesus is coming. Don't be caught dead or alive without him.
Yep, sweet and to the point. And he's right, folks. My thoughts is, same thing he says, give your life to Jesus now. Now, not tomorrow, because tomorrow might be too late. You're not promised tomorrow. We are not promised tomorrow. We can wake up to nuclear bombs going off everywhere. Nuclear war. We can wake up to a nuclear war tomorrow, folks. Keep your eyes on this month. This is a hot month for the rapture, I think, now, is all the dates of June 6th. Okay, the war that can go on during that time is we're hearing chatter about boots on the ground, NATO during June 6th. They're activating the war, so we're going by that. That's not date setting. That's something we actually got from the news. But the rapture is imminent. It's imminent all the way through this whole year, especially in September. So, guys, all right, guys. I'm going to go ahead and go, Dustin. I appreciate you coming on, bro.
All right. See ya.
See you guys. Keep your eyes to the sky. Take care.